this video, I'll show you how to create an Iron Man style display animation with geometry nodes. Select your default cube, go to geometry nodes, and click new. Delete the group input, add a join geometry. We'll use this later. Now get a mesh circle, connect it to geometry. Get an extrude mesh, change that to edges, probably about good. Press Shift D, change that from edges to faces, bring that down about 0.4. Now press Shift D again, get a brick texture, connect color to offset. Now get a color ramp. Bring up the black a little bit, and now bring down the white significantly. There, that's good. Now move this down. Select your circle, press Shift D, and now connect mesh to geometry again. Increase the radius, get another extrude mesh. Change that from faces to edges yet again. There. Shift D, edges to faces, bring that down. Good. Shift D. So now select all of that, press Shift D yet again. Connect that there. Bring the radius down a little bit and press Shift A. Get a transform. On the translation Z, bring it down a little. I'm gonna take this and press Shift D, connect that there. Now bring the radius out significantly. Maybe increase that value and decrease that value. Now change vertices to 6, and now get another extrude mesh. Put that there. Press Shift D, put that there. Press Shift D again, put that there. I'm gonna get another brick texture. Connect that there, connect that there. Press Shift and right click and drag across. Get a color ramp. Maybe bring down those values a little. But there's a problem. There isn't enough geometry to extrude. So let's get a subdivide. Go over there, put that just before the extrude mesh. I'm gonna change that to 2. Shift D, put it there. Now press Shift D again, put it there. Now we can see what we're doing a bit better. Press Shift A, get a icosphere, connect it to join geometry. Zoom in on the center so we can see a bit better. Bring radius down, 0.5. Now get a subdivide, extrude, put that there. Looks pretty good. Go get another color ramp. Also, I think it's still, the individual faces are still too small, so I'm going to bring that up a bit more. I think 3 is a good amount. Go to your original ring there and get another join geometry. Put it there. Now get a distribute points on faces and drag that from there to there. And now get and drag the points to join geometry. Now get an instance on points. There we go. Get a cube. Connect mesh to instance, and now I'm going to scale this down significantly. That's way too many, so I'm going to bring the density down to about 0.5, I think. Now I do want some randomization on these, so I'm going to press Shift A, random value, connect value to scale, 0.1 and 0.5, good. And create another one, drag this out, get a combine, you can see combine XYZ, change that to Z, drag vector up to rotation. Now get a transform and press Shift D, connect geometry to instances, and now on one of them, 0.65 looks good. And now go on the other one and do minus 0.65 and connect geometry to join geometry. Good. Now drag up a timeline, and now we need to animate these. But before we do that, let's add a camera. So press Shift A, get a camera, and go track 2, eyedropper, cube. Now press G, Y, go to the camera, G, Z. Now go back to geometry nodes. Okay, so I'm gonna zoom out a little. The first thing we're gonna do is go here and press Shift D, put that there, press delete. And now we're going to go to scale, press I. Now go to maybe frame 15 and bring up the Z to about 75. So it creates an effect like that. Now press I again. Make sure both your object, and node are selected to see your keyframes. And now we have that animated like that. But I also want to scale them on the X and Y. So I'll go to frame 10 or so, and I'll press I again. And on its own, this doesn't change anything. Now I'm gonna go to frame 25 and drag over the X and Y and scale them, maybe like that. And press I again. Now I'm gonna right click and go interpolation mode, Bezier. Looks about good. Now, one last thing. I'm gonna go here to 1 and press I on translation. Go to frame 15, bring up the Z just a little bit, 3.5. Press I again. Again, right click, Bezier. Good. And now we're gonna go to our rings and animate the radius. So first I'll go to this one here. I think first I'll start at 15. Remember to select it, go to 25 and scale it up a little bit. Interpolation mode, Bezier. So go to the first ring here, this one, and go to frame 15 and press I on radius. Remember to select the node and the object to see your keyframes. Go to frame 25 and increase the radius. Now, right click, interpolation mode, Bezier. Good. Now, do the same for the next strings. Maybe just offset the framing a little bit. And now, once they're scaled out, there are two things we want to do. Firstly, we want our core here to come out, which we haven't done. And also, we want the rings and stuff to start spinning. So first, I'm going to animate the core. So I'm going to go over to the core, right here, press Shift A, and get a transform. I think I'll zoom in a bit there. And I'll click this button so that I can't see the outlines. I'm going to press Z, and bring it up a little. Go to the frame you want it to start animating, about there. I now go up, press I again. Now I'm gonna go to scale, press I, and scale it up. Good, and go there. Go to frame 20 to start, and press I on rotation. Now go to frame 45, and change all these, and press I. Now interpolation mode, Bezier. Good. But now once it's fully scaled, about there, I'll change that to the end of our animation, be consistent. And I'm going to change the Z value, maybe something like that. Now I'm going to get at the transform node and press Shift D. First I'll put that there, press delete to reset it. And now go to the point where that one is fully, or go to the point where that one starts to scale up. So for me that's there. And press I, go to the end, and rotate it a few times. There. Now press Shift D again. You can use that to check which one it is, and the frame starts scaling there. So press I, go to the end, rotate Z. Now I'm gonna be rotating them in different directions because I think it's gonna look a bit cooler. Delete. Find the moment it starts to scale, and press I, go to the end, press I again. Now press Shift D one more time. Put that there, press delete, select the transform node, press delete, find the part that starts scaling, press I, end of animation, Z. This one I want to spin quite fast, so I'm going to put it really high. I think that looks pretty good. So now let's do some materials. Press Shift A, set material, put it there, and we're going to want 4 materials. So the first 2, I'm going to create, turn that back on. I'm going to create with my real-time materials add-on. Go there, go to metal, and I'm going to click that, and I think I'll add that one for now. Now go to the material, click another one there, bumped metal, add material. Now I'm going to press N because we don't need that anymore. Make a new one, make new again. I'm going to call this one white. Change this to emission, make that color maybe, and maybe 100. And now that's probably a bit too much. Probably like 75. Okay, I'm going to make one more, and I'm going to click new. And I'm going to call this one core. Now before we start changing those materials and stuff, there's a few things we need to do. We need to animate the camera, we need to set the materials, and we need to do some lighting. So first I'm going to set the materials. So I want this one to be blocks, and blocks. This one I'm going to make it bumped, and I'm going to press Shift D and I'm gonna go there, change that one to bumped metal, and changed this one to lights. Sorry, I messed up a little. According to YouTube's analytics, only 1.4% of you are subscribed. I'm gonna go here and make sure that looks right, and it doesn't. We want this one to be bumped metal. And so the reason that's happening is because this is applying to the whole join geometry. We don't want that. So I'm gonna go there, and I'm gonna delete that. I'm gonna go here, and see where these are. I'm gonna go here, Shift D, and Shift D, change those to bumped metal, change those to lights. So that one is bumped metal, and these are lights. Now, I do think those lights are a bit too bright still. So I'm gonna go there, probably about 25. Okay, now let's add some lighting, then work on the core. Okay, layout. Press Shift A and get a light, spotlight, go there. Click this button, add object, constraint, track to there and there. About there, scale, and I'm gonna bring up that light until there's a noticeable shadow. There we go. Now change that color a little bit there. Maybe that's good. And press Shift D, put something out there, change it to spotlight, and bring that there. Good. Go back to shading nodes. Click on the object and go to core. I'm gonna press Shift A, add a Voronoi, and connect that to color there. Get a color ramp, press Control T with node wrangler, object, vector, constant, bring that in. It looks like I forgot to apply the core material for the core. Okay, so go back to shading nodes. There we go. Okay, it looks good. I think I might bring down the randomization just a little bit there. Bring that out. Get a mix RGB. Brick. Why can't I say brick? I think that's pretty good. Now, gonna go to linear, go like that, and change the colors. Flip those, I think. Now, I'm gonna get a mix shader, emission, connect that there, Voronoi, color to color, and connect that there. Or, sorry, not color to color. I don't know what I was thinking. Color to factor, Shift D. There. What is going on with me today? There. Sorry. Now press Shift D, put that there. Press delete, linear to constant there, and now turn this up. Maybe not that much. Something like 10. I think I'm actually gonna reverse this. I think it actually looks better without that. You know what? That's good. You know, I make these beforehand, before I make the tutorials, but sometimes they just don't look as good when I'm making them again, but that's okay. So now I've got that. There's a couple more things I'm gonna want to do. So first things first, we've got a lot of motion, right? I'm gonna want some motion blur. I think that's gonna make things look a lot better. So I'm gonna go here, go all the way down, just make sure motion blur is enabled. I have it turned on by default, but yeah, just make sure it's turned on. Now I'm gonna render out an image, and then we're gonna do some compositing. Now go to compositing. This is too high resolution for me, so I can press V, scale it down, Shift A, glare. Change that to 2 streaks. Change that to high, and now I think I'm just gonna bring the threshold up to something higher. Maybe not that high. That looks good. Press Shift D, streaks to fog glow, and change that to 1. Good. Now, lens distortion, bring dispersion to 0.025 maybe. That looks good. Now, I also want there to be some camera animation, and right now there isn't. So I'm gonna go back to the beginning, select the camera, and I go here and bring, whoa, that's too much. Bring that about there. Press I. Also gonna click this button, make sure it's tracked to cube. Right now, when the core goes up, I want the camera to follow it a little bit. So I can actually turn this down a little, maybe 0.75. And now I'm gonna turn that off completely real quick. Go to rotation, X 90, Y 0. This should be 0 as well. And now we can animate this by hand. So if we go here, by frame 42, it looks like, ish, maybe, I don't know. I'm gonna bring this X value up, there. Press I, interpolation mode, Bezier. Looks like I forgot to animate this there at 90. press I. There we go. Looks good. Now, I also want the camera to move outwards a little bit when it does that. And I'm going to bring that in a little, I think. Frame 10, there, press I, move out here, and like that, press I. Now when we go to rendered, you can see what this will look like.